The curious explorers. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, nestled within the spiraling arms of the Milky Way, stood the prestigious Galactic University of Studies. Its shimmering spires and bioluminescent domes were a beacon of knowledge for species across the known universe. Here, curious minds from 1,000 worlds came to learn about the rich tapestry of life that adorned the cosmic canvas. Among the diverse student body, a group of young aliens stood out for their insatiable curiosity and penchant for adventure. There was Zix, a luminous being of pure energy contained within a specially designed environmental suit. Gloop, an amorphous blob capable of assuming any shape, and Crick-Crack, an insectoid creature with an exoskeleton that changed colors based on its mood. On this particular day, the trio found themselves in the university's vast artifact repository, surrounded by relics from countless civilizations. As they meandered through the holographic displays and stasis fields, Zix's energy form pulsed with excitement. "Look at this!" Zix exclaimed, their voice a melodious hum. "It's an artifact from Earth." Gloop oozed closer, forming a pair of eyes to examine the object. "Earth? You mean that Deathworld the professors are always warning us about?" Crick-Crack's antennae twitched with interest, their exoskeleton shifting to a curious shade of blue. "I've heard stories about Earth. They say the humans there are unpredictable." The artifact in question was a small rectangular device made of metal and glass. Its surface was smooth, with a few buttons on one side and a large dark panel on the other. A faded logo of an apple with a bite taken out of it adorned the back. "What do you think it is?" Zix wondered, their energy form crackling with curiosity. Gloop extended a pseudopod, carefully touching the device. "It's not alive, that's for sure. Maybe some kind of primitive communication tool." Crick-Crack's compound eyes zoomed in on the artifact. "Look at the craftsmanship. For a species from a Deathworld, they seem to have a remarkable grasp of technology." As they examined the device, a holographic plaque flickered to life beside it. The aliens leaned in, eager to learn more about this mysterious object from Earth. "iPhone," Zix read aloud, the unfamiliar word sending ripples through their energy form. "A personal communication and computing device used by humans in the early 21st century. Gloop's body quivered with excitement. "Computing device? But it's so small. How could it possibly process complex calculations?" Crick-Crack's exoskeleton shifted to a thoughtful green. "Perhaps the humans found a way to miniaturize their technology. But why? What purpose could such a small device serve?" The more they pondered the iPhone, the more questions arose. How did humans use this device? What kind of information did they store on it? And most intriguingly, what did this simple object reveal about the nature of human society? Zix's energy form pulsed with determination. "We need to know more. Not just about this device, but about Earth and its inhabitants." Gloop formed a mouth to speak, their voice bubbling with concern. "But Earth is off limits to students. It's classified as a high-risk planet." Crick-Crack's exoskeleton flickered between shades of excitement and apprehension. "Zix is right, though. How can we truly understand the universe if we ignore one of its most fascinating species?" The trio huddled together, their voices dropping to whispers as they hatched a plan. They would petition the university board for a special research expedition to Earth. It was a long shot, but their curiosity would not be denied. Over the next few weeks, the alien students threw themselves into their proposal. They pored over every scrap of information about Earth available in the university archives, prepared detailed safety protocols, and even designed special protective gear to help them survive on the Deathworld. Finally, the day of their presentation arrived. The university board, composed of some of the most respected sinologists in the galaxy, listened with a mixture of intrigue and concern as the students made their case. And in conclusion, Zix's energy form glowed brightly as they spoke. "We believe that a carefully managed expedition to Earth will not only enhance our understanding of human culture, but also provide valuable insights into the development of life on Deathworlds." There was a long moment of silence as the board deliberated. The students waited, barely daring to hope. Then, to their astonishment and delight, the board approved their proposal. "Your curiosity and dedication to knowledge are commendable," the head of the board, an ancient crystalline being, chimed. "However, this expedition comes with strict conditions. You will be accompanied by Professor Lumina, an expert in Deathworld ecology, and your time on Earth will be limited to one standard galactic week." The students could hardly contain their excitement as they left the boardroom. They had done it. They were going to Earth. The next few days were a whirlwind of preparation. They studied Earth's atmosphere, gravity, and biosphere, memorized human customs and languages, and fine-tuned their protective gear. Professor Lumina, a bioluminescent plant-like being, guided them through rigorous survival training. As the day of departure approached, a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation filled the air. The students gathered at the university's teleportation hub, their bags packed with equipment and their minds brimming with questions. "Remember," Professor Lumina's leaves rustled as she spoke, "Earth is unlike any world you've encountered before. The humans may seem familiar in some ways, but never forget that they evolved in an environment that would be lethal to most species. Stay alert, follow protocols, and above all, be careful." With a final check of their equipment, the group stepped onto the teleportation pad. Zix's energy form flickered with anticipation. Gloop quivered with excitement, and Crick-Crack's exoskeleton shimmered with a rainbow of emotions. In a flash of light and a rush of displaced air, they'd vanished from the familiar halls of the Galactic University. When the disorientation of teleportation faded, they found themselves standing on soft, green grass under a vast blue sky. A warm breeze carried unfamiliar scents, and in the distance, they could hear the faint sounds of a bustling city. They had arrived on Earth, the mysterious Deathworld that had captured their imagination. As they took in their surroundings with wonder, none of them could have predicted the adventures that awaited them, or how this journey would challenge everything they thought they knew about humans and their world. Unveiling human ingenuity. The alien students stood transfixed, their senses overwhelmed by the vibrant tapestry of life that surrounded them. Earth's gravity tugged at them insistently, a constant reminder of the planet's formidable nature. In the distance, a sprawling city rose against the horizon, its towering structures a testament to human engineering. "Remember your training." Professor Lumina's bioluminescent fronds pulsed gently. "We're here to observe and learn, not to interfere." With cautious excitement, the group made their way towards the city. They had chosen to materialize in a secluded park to avoid immediate detection, but as they approached the urban center, the challenge of remaining inconspicuous became apparent. Zix's energy form crackled with nervous energy. "How are we supposed to blend in? We look nothing like humans." Gloop, who had shaped themselves into a roughly humanoid form, burbled reassuringly. "That's what our holo-disguises are for. Activate them now." With a shimmer of light, the aliens' true forms were obscured by holographic projections of average human beings. It wasn't perfect. Crick-Crack's movements were still a bit too jerky, and Gloop's feet occasionally merged with the ground, but it would have to do. As they entered the city proper, the students were immediately struck by the controlled chaos of human society. Vehicles of all shapes and sizes zipped by on the roads, while humans hurried along the sidewalks, many with small devices, not unlike the iPhone they had seen in the university repository, pressed to their ears or held in their hands. "Look at them all." Crick-Crack chittered softly, their exoskeleton shifting to a shade of awestruck blue beneath their disguise. "How do they navigate such crowded spaces without colliding?" Professor Lumina's leaves rustled thoughtfully. "Humans have developed complex social protocols to manage their high-density populations. Observe how they move in patterns, following unspoken rules." The group spent hours wandering the city streets, marveling at the diversity of human activities. They watched in fascination as humans entered and exited buildings, exchanged goods in marketplaces, and interacted with each other in ways that seemed both familiar and utterly alien. As the day wore on, hunger began to gnaw at them. Despite their protective gear and metabolic adjustments, Earth's environment was taking its toll. They decided to risk entering a human eating establishment to rest and refuel. The restaurant was a sensory explosion. Delicious aromas wafted through the air, making Gloop's entire form quiver with anticipation. Zix's energy patterns fluctuated wildly as they tried to process the cacophony of human voices and the clinking of utensils. A friendly human approached their table, smiling warmly. "Welcome to Joe's Diner. What can I get for you folks today?" The aliens froze, suddenly realizing the flaw in their plan. They hadn't prepared for direct interaction. Crick-Crack's exoskeleton nearly shorted out their holo disguise as it rapidly cycled through colors of panic. Professor Lumina smoothly intervened. "We're tourists," she said, her voice modulated to sound human. "Perhaps you could recommend some local specialties." The server's face lit up. "Oh, you're in for a treat. Our apple pie is famous around these parts, and you can't go wrong with a classic cheeseburger and fries." As the server walked away, Zix vibrated with curiosity. Apple pie. Like the logo on the iPhone. Do humans subsist on communication devices? Gloop extended a pseudopod under the table, absorbing a fallen crumb. "No, it seems to be some kind of organic sustenance. Fascinating molecular structure." Their meal arrived, and the aliens cautiously sampled the human food, their specialized digestive systems processing and analyzing every bite. The flavors were unlike anything they had ever experienced, a symphony of sweet, savory, and umami that defied categorization. As they ate, they couldn't help but overhear the conversations around them. Humans discussed their daily lives, their hopes and dreams, their fears and frustrations. It was a glimpse into the complex emotional landscape of this Deathworld species. They seemed so passionate, Crick-Crack observed, their voice filled with wonder. Every conversation is charged with feeling. Zix's energy form pulsed in agreement. Perhaps it's a result of their short lifespans. They burn brightly because they have so little time. After their meal, the group continued their exploration of the city. As night fell, they were treated to a new spectacle. The city illuminated by countless artificial lights, turning the urban landscape into a glittering wonderland. They passed by a park where a group of humans were engaged in some kind of physical activity. Curiosity piqued. They stopped to watch. "What are they doing?" Gloop asked, stretching their form to get a better view. Professor Lumina's leaves quivered with recognition. "I believe it's a form of recreational combat training. Humans call it martial arts." The aliens watched in awe as the humans moved with grace and power, their bodies flowing through complex forms and engaging in controlled sparring matches. It was a stark reminder of the physical capabilities that had allowed humans to survive and thrive on their Deathworld. As they continued their journey, they encountered more examples of human recreation. They passed by a cinema, where humans voluntarily subjected themselves to simulated emotional experiences. They saw humans engaging in risky physical activities like skateboarding and parkour, defying the very gravity that made their world so dangerous. "It's as if they're constantly challenging themselves," Zix mused, their energy form flickering with perplexity. "Why take such risks unnecessarily?" Before anyone could respond, a commotion down the street caught their attention. A small wheeled vehicle had lost control, careening towards a group of unsuspecting pedestrians. Without hesitation, a human bystander leaped into action, pushing others out of harm's way at great personal risk. The aliens watched in stunned silence as other humans rushed to help, working together to secure the vehicle and tend to the shaken pedestrians. The display of courage, quick thinking, and cooperation was unlike anything they had expected from a supposedly primitive species. As the excitement died down, Professor Lumina gathered the students close. "What you've just witnessed," she said, her voice filled with respect, "is the essence of humanity. They may have evolved on a Deathworld, but that harsh environment has forged them into a species of remarkable resilience, adaptability, and compassion. The alien students pondered this as they made their way back to their hidden base camp on the outskirts of the city. Their first day on Earth had challenged many of their preconceptions about humans and their world. As they settled in for the night, their minds raced with new questions and a growing appreciation for the complexity of human society. Little did they know, their greatest test, and their most profound lesson about humanity, was yet to come. The ultimate test. As dawn broke on their third day on Earth, the alien students were still reeling from the revelations of their previous experiences. They had witnessed the hustle and bustle of human cities, marveled at their technology, and observed their complex social interactions. But nothing could have prepared them for what was to come. Their research had led them to a remote area where, according to intercepted communications, a human military exercise was scheduled to take place. Despite Professor Lumina's reservations, the students had insisted on observing this aspect of human capability. "We need to understand all facets of human society," Zix had argued, their energy form pulsing with determination, including their capacity for conflict. And so, hidden behind advanced cloaking technology, the alien group watched as human military vehicles rolled into the area. Soldiers in camouflage uniforms moved with practiced precision, setting up equipment and preparing for their exercise. Crick-Crack's exoskeleton rippled with a mix of fear and fascination. "Look at their weapons," they chittered softly. "Such destructive potential in such compact forms." Gloop extended a sensory tendril, analyzing the air. "The chemicals they're using. Highly explosive compounds. One miscalculation could be catastrophic." As the exercise began, the aliens watched in awe as the humans demonstrated their military prowess. Vehicles maneuvered across difficult terrain with ease, while soldiers communicated and coordinated their movements with remarkable efficiency. "It's like a deadly dance," Professor Lumina observed, her leaves trembling slightly. Every movement calculated, every action purposeful. But it was the weapons that truly stunned them. The thunderous roar of gunfire, the earth-shaking explosions of artillery. It was a display of destructive power beyond anything they had imagined possible from a non-spacefaring species. Zix's energy form crackled with a mixture of fear and respect. To think, they developed all this just to survive on their Deathworld. And to fight each other. As the day wore on, the aliens continued to observe, making careful notes and recordings of everything they saw. They were so engrossed in their study that they failed to notice the changing weather patterns around them. It was Gloop who first sensed the danger. Their amorphous form Rippet was Gloop who first sensed the danger. Their amorphous form rippled with alarm. "The atmospheric pressure is dropping rapidly," they burbled urgently. "And there's a strange electrical charge in the air." Professor Lumina's bioluminescent fronds pulsed with sudden realization. "It's a supercell thunderstorm. We need to find shelter immediately." The sky darkened ominously as massive clouds roiled overhead. The human soldiers, their exercise forgotten, scrambled to secure their equipment and take cover. The alien observers watched in fascination and growing terror as the full fury of Earth's weather unleashed itself upon the landscape. Lightning split the sky, followed by deafening thunder that shook the very ground. Torrential rain lashed down, quickly turning the field into a muddy quagmire. And then, in the distance, a terrifying sight, a funnel cloud descending from the storm, touching down on the Earth with devastating force. "Tornado!" Crick-Crack chittered in panic, their exoskeleton flashing warning colors. "We must evacuate," Professor Lumina shouted over the howling wind, but as they turned to flee, they realized their path was blocked by debris thrown by the storm. Zix's energy form pulsed erratically with fear. "We're trapped. What do we do?" As the tornado bore down on them, tearing up everything in its path, the aliens huddled together, their advanced technology useless against the raw power of Earth's nature. Just when all seemed lost, they heard a shout over the roar of the storm. "Hey, you there! This way!" A group of human soldiers had spotted them and were waving frantically, gesturing towards a sturdy-looking underground bunker. For a moment, the aliens hesitated, their ingrained caution warring with their desperate need for shelter. "We have no choice," Professor Lumina decided. "Follow them." Abandoning their cloaking technology, the aliens raced towards the bunker, guided by the encouraging shouts of the humans. Gloop oozed through the mud, Zix crackled and sparked against the electrified air, and Crick-Crack skittered on all 6 limbs, their holo disguises long since shorted out by the storm. They reached the bunker just as the tornado struck. The humans, eyes wide with shock at the aliens' true forms, nonetheless hurried them inside and sealed the heavy doors behind them. For long moments, the only sounds were the muffled roar of the storm outside and the heavy breathing of humans and aliens alike. Then, slowly, the humans and aliens regarded each other in the dim emergency lighting of the bunker. "Well," one of the soldiers said, breaking the tense silence, "I guess that we are not alone. Folks were right after all." Despite the gravity of the situation, Zix couldn't help but emit a small pulse of amusement. Their translator rendered it as a chuckle, easing some of the tension in the room. "We thank you for your assistance," Professor Lumina said formally, her leaves quivering with a mixture of relief and apprehension. "We are peaceful researchers from the Galactic University of Xenostudies." The human soldiers exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of disbelief, fear, and curiosity. But to the aliens' surprise, the humans' training kicked in, and they quickly organized themselves to deal with the situation at hand. "All right," the squad leader said, taking charge. "We've got civilians, alien civilians, in a disaster situation. Priority is safety and medical attention if needed. We'll sort out the first contact protocols once we're out of danger." As the storm raged outside, humans and aliens found themselves working side by side. The soldiers shared their rations with the hungry aliens, helped Gloop find a container to rest in when the amorphous alien began to lose cohesion due to stress, and even rigged up a makeshift energy field to help stabilize Zix's fluctuating form. In turn, the aliens used their advanced knowledge to help the humans. Crick-Crack's compound eyes could see structural weaknesses in the bunker that the humans couldn't, allowing them to reinforce crucial areas. Zix's ability to sense electromagnetic fields helped predict the storm's movements, giving them valuable information about when it might be safe to emerge. As hours passed, the two species began to talk, cautiously at first, then with growing openness and curiosity. The humans were full of questions about the universe beyond their world, while the aliens were equally curious about life on Earth. "So, you really think our world is that dangerous?" one young soldier asked, incredulous. Gloop burbled an affirmative. "Your gravity alone would crush many species, and the atmospheric composition, the extreme weather, the tectonic instability, not to mention the myriad of predators and microscopic threats." The humans looked at each other, a new appreciation for their world dawning in their eyes. "I guess we never really thought about it that way," the soldier mused. "It's just home, you know." As the conversation continued, the aliens began to understand the unique perspective that living on a Deathworld had given humanity. Their constant struggle against their environment had bred a species that was incredibly adaptable, resilient, and innovative. The very traits that made them formidable potential enemies also made them invaluable potential allies. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the storm began to subside. Cautiously, humans and aliens emerged from the bunker to survey the damage. The landscape had been transformed, trees uprooted, and vehicles tossed about like toys. But amidst the destruction, they also saw signs of life persevering. Small animals emerging from hiding, plants already beginning to straighten under the emerging sunlight. As cleanup efforts began, with humans and aliens working together to restore order, Professor Lumina gathered her students. "I believe," she said, her leaves shimmering with emotion, "that we have learned far more on this expedition than we ever could have anticipated. We came to study humans, but in doing so, we've gained a new perspective on the universe and our place in it. Zix's energy form pulsed in agreement. They are far more complex than we realized, capable of great destruction, yes, but also of great compassion and cooperation. Crick-Crack's exoskeleton had settled into a deep, respectful blue. Their adaptability is unparalleled. In the face of constant challenges from their world, they've developed a remarkable drive to overcome and thrive. Gloop formed a series of complex shapes, their way of expressing deep thought. Perhaps it is we who have been limited in our thinking. We saw their world as a death trap, but they turned it into a crucible for growth and innovation. As they prepared to return to the Galactic University, the aliens knew that their report would shock and challenge the academic community. Earth and humanity would need to be reevaluated. No longer could they be dismissed as a primitive species on a backwater Deathworld. They were, in their own unique way, a force to be reckoned with, and potentially invaluable members of the galactic community. The humans, for their part, watched the aliens depart with a mixture of wonder and anticipation. Their world had suddenly become much larger, and the future much more uncertain, but also infinitely more exciting. As the alien ship disappeared into the sky, one of the soldiers turned to his comrades with a grin. "You know," he said, "I've got a feeling the universe isn't quite ready for humanity." And as stars twinkled into view in the darkening sky, it was hard to say who had learned more from the encounter, the alien students who had come to study humanity, or the humans who had gotten their first glimpse of the cosmos that awaited them.